More than 400,000 men will cross this river in the first invasion force. Most will not return.
Numbers without causes are not an argument. They are decoration.
Then explain the cause. This is the line of your advance. This thinner line is the return.
Why does it return along the same road? And why is it thinner?
Because the army begins dying long before winter finishes it.
Today we are traveling to the evening of June 23rd, 1812. On the other side of tomorrow, Napoleon's army will begin crossing the Niemen into the Russian Empire. Napoleon is 42. He has defeated coalitions, redrawn borders, placed relatives on thrones, and made his will part of Europe's political geography. The force assembled for this campaign is not simply French. Poles, Germans, Italians, Dutch, Swiss, Austrians, and Prussians march beside French regiments. Estimates differ because historians count different echelons. Roughly 440,000 men stand ready for the first invasion, while the total forces connected to the theater exceed 600,000. It is tempting to call the invasion madness. That is too easy. In June, the plan still appears to many observers to be another enormous but rational exercise in coercion. The alliance created at Tilsit has broken down. Russia resents French domination, the Duchy of Warsaw, and the economic cost of Napoleon's continental system. Napoleon resents Russia's retreat from the blockade against Britain, its trade decisions, and its refusal to remain a subordinate partner in his European system. Oldenburg, Poland, the Balkans, and prestige all matter. Beneath them lies a simpler problem. Two emperors possess European projects that cannot occupy the same map. His former ambassador Caulaincourt warned him that Russia would trade space for time, deny him a decisive political result, and make distance itself an enemy. Napoleon listened. He was disturbed. Then he continued preparing the campaign. He expects pressure, a great battle, and a negotiated peace. He does not expect an enemy who can lose cities, abandon territory, and still refuse to admit defeat. I want to know whether Russia is a strategic necessity, a political trap, or the moment when victory has made retreat psychologically impossible.
Destination confirmed. Niemen Frontier. June 23rd, 1812. Political instability. Critical. Military concentration. Extreme. Disclosure limit 12%.
I can ask what he intended. I cannot give him a complete account of what follows. Dates, final outcomes, and the fate of his family are restricted. If the disclosure threshold is exceeded, the return window closes. History resists direct correction. It accepts fragments as rumors, warnings, or memories that no one can later prove. That does not make the information harmless. The first thing you notice is not discipline, it is scale. This is an army assembled from an empire and from states that have learned the price of refusing it. Infantry, cavalry, engineers, artillery, medical wagons, clerks, bakers, horses, and thousands of vehicles must move along a limited road network. Every triumph on the map depends on food, water, fodder, shoes, wheels, and men arriving where the map assumes they will. The campaign has not started, and the army is already consuming the landscape around it. Napoleon's headquarters is itself a moving institution. Staff officers, couriers, and specialists turn his decisions into orders for an army spread across hundreds of kilometers. The imperial headquarters numbers far more than the few famous marshals seen in paintings.
Stop. State your name and unit.
I do not have a unit.
Then you do not have business with the Emperor.
Tell him I know what happens after the crossing.
The Russians withdraw. We advance.
Tell him I know the name of the city, where he will wait for peace and receive no answer.
Is that a weapon?
No,
Then surrender it.
I cannot return without it.
Return where?
Let him enter. Keep the guard at the door.
Let him enter.
They say you know what occurs tomorrow.
Tomorrow is only the first movement.
Of the campaign? Of the question people will ask about you for centuries. Victors are not usually asked why they began a war.
Then we should establish whether you are certain you will be the victor.
I would not have assembled this army if I were not certain of its purpose.
That is not the same as certain to victory.
Sit. You have 1 hour.
When did you first understand that talent was not enough? That you had to make other people believe you were exceptional?
Talent that must announce itself constantly is usually not talent. Results announce it.
Results can be arranged into a legend.
Everything is arranged into a legend after enough time. Defeat as well as victory.
You were not born to inherit France. When did you stop thinking of yourself as a man required to obey others?
I obeyed men who understood more than I did. There were fewer of them each year.
It's Corsica, the revolution, or the army, which created Napoleon?
Necessity. Corsica taught me that identity is political. The revolution did not exist to preserve disorder. The revolution showed that institutions can collapse in a week. The army taught that order can be rebuilt in a day if someone knows what he wants.
You once served a revolution that destroyed a monarchy. Then you crowned yourself emperor.
The revolution did not exist to preserve disorder. It destroyed privilege and opened careers. I preserved what could govern a nation and removed what could only destroy one.
So you still consider yourself its heir?
More than the men who used its language while allowing France to disintegrate.
Do you need people to love you, fear you, or believe that your victory is inevitable?
Love changes with bread prices. Fear disappears when the feared man hesitates. Confidence is more useful. An army must believe that movement has purpose.
And who are you when there is no army, no minister, and no secretary recording your words?
The same man and without witnesses.
I am not sure anyone with your power remains the same without witnesses.
You know a great deal about me for a man without a unit.
Much of it will be written later,
By me?
by people who survive you.
We will return to that.
You gave France administrative order, institutions, and a legal code. At what point does order become obedience to one man?
When the one man ceases to build institutions and begins ruling by appetite alone.
Who decides that point?
History, eventually. Competent government, immediately.
That is convenient for the competent man in power.
It is also convenient for citizens who prefer functioning courts, roads, and schools to philosophical purity.
Why did a revolution that destroyed a king require an emperor?
It required stability. The title is less important than the work. Then why create a dynasty? Because institutions require continuity, and Europe understands dynasties better than constitutions.
Do you believe your laws will outlive your victories?
Good laws always outlive battles. Battles make the space in which laws can survive.
If the laws are strong, why must your brothers sit on foreign thrones? Why must your army enforce the system?
Because laws do not defend themselves against kings who want the old world restored.
Did you liberate Europe from old privilege, or make it submit to a more efficient master?
You confuse efficiency with oppression because you have the luxury of treating disorder as harmless.
How much freedom do people deserve when they use it against you?
Freedom is not the right to invite foreign armies into your country or destroy the state from within.
Did you create the empire for France, or did France become the instrument with which you created the empire?
France required secure frontiers. Britain financed coalitions. Austria recovered from every defeat. Prussia waited for revenge. Russia speaks of friendship while weakening the system that keeps Britain isolated. You describe expansion as though the alternative were peaceful retirement.
I describe a system in which every new threat justifies another campaign.
Because threats do not disappear when ignored.
And soldiers do not return when a campaign was unnecessary.
We are now speaking of Russia.
We are speaking of responsibility.
What is this date?
A time when your power has ended, but your image has not.
Every man's power ends.
Not every man loses an empire twice.
Twice?
I cannot answer that.
You already have. You came to speak of Russia. Speak clearly.
When did Alexander stop being your ally and become a man who had to be compelled?
He decided that agreements applied only while they were comfortable. Russian merchants wanted British trade. His court hated the alliance. He encouraged uncertainty in Poland and expected me to accept it.
Is this war about trade with Britain, or about a ruler proving he can say no to you?
A ruler may say no. He may not violate an agreement and expect no consequence.
What is more dangerous, the Russian army or the example of a sovereign who refuses your European system?
They are the same danger if refusal destroys the system.
Do you intend to conquer Russia?
No. Russia cannot be occupied like a small German state, and I have no need to govern it. I require a military decision and a political settlement.
Describe victory precisely.
The Russian armies are separated or defeated. Alexander recognizes that continued resistance is more expensive than negotiation. The alliance is restored on terms that can be enforced.
Where do you stop?
Where the political decision is obtained.
That is not a place.
War is not conducted for the convenience of mapmakers.
What if the Russians refuse a decisive battle?
Armies cannot retreat indefinitely.
Why not?
Because a government cannot surrender territory forever. It loses stores, cities, confidence, and the loyalty of its subjects.
What if Russia can surrender more territory than you can cross?
Every state has a center of gravity.
Are you certain you know where Russia's is?
Its armies. Defeat them, and geography becomes secondary.
And if they retreat while destroying supplies?
We carry supply, establish magazines, and requisition where necessary.
For how long can an army this size live at the speed required to catch an enemy who refuses you?
Long enough if command remains coherent.
What if every tactical success takes you farther from the political settlement you want?
Victory creates political reality.
Not always. Sometimes it creates distance.
You speak with the confidence of a Russian staff officer.
I am not serving Alexander.
Britain, then.
I am from a time in which this campaign has already been studied by your enemies, your admirers, and people who are neither.
Close the entrance. No one enters without my order.
Now we may discuss your time without interruption.
How many men outside chose this war?
Soldiers do not vote on campaigns.
That was not my question.
Then it was a theatrical question. Nations cannot conduct war by individual consent.
What do you owe the man who follows because he was ordered, not because he believes you?
Competent command. A purpose proportionate to the danger. Every reasonable preparation. And the refusal to waste his courage through indecision.
When you look at the army, do you see people or possibilities?
Both. A commander who sees only people becomes unable to use the army. A commander who sees only numbers destroys it.
Does a soldier have the right to believe his emperor's order is wrong?
He has the right to think anything. He does not have the right to dissolve the army by choosing which orders deserve obedience.
Which is the greater betrayal, refusing a dangerous order or giving an unnecessary one?
You assume the order is unnecessary because you claim to know the ending.
I am asking, who owns the consequences?
I do.
Completely?
Command cannot be divided when responsibility becomes unpleasant.
Then if this fails, you will not blame the weather, your marshals, the roads, or the Russians?
Failure has causes. Responsibility and cause are not identical.
That distinction protects commanders very well.
It protects the truth from moral simplification.
Is there a number of dead after which victory stops being victory?
There is no universal number. A battle that saves a nation may justify losses that a battle for vanity cannot.
Who determines whether the cause was survival or vanity?
The man required to decide before the result is known.
Every man beginning a war says it prevents a worse one.
Sometimes he is correct.
How does the soldier know the difference?
He cannot. That is why command exists.
Then the consequences belong to command.
You judge decisions without carrying responsibility for the alternative. Suppose I do nothing. Russia leaves the system. Britain gains trade, money, and confidence. A coalition reforms under better conditions. How many die in that future?
I do not know.
Exactly.
But I know some of the men outside will die in the future you chose.
Knowledge of one tragedy does not prove the alternative was harmless. Send confirmation to the engineers. The first crossings proceed as ordered. I want the reports before dawn.
You gave that order to remind me who controls the room.
I gave it because an army cannot wait for our philosophy.
At last. You cannot keep this.
We will decide that later. Niemen, Vilna, Vitebsk, Smolensk, Borodino. I do not know this name.
You will.
Moscow. I have not planned to march on Moscow.
Not tonight.
And this line returns west.
Yes.
Why does it narrow?
Protected numerical outcome. Access denied.
Numbers are hidden.
They are protected.
By whom?
By the same system preventing me from telling you exactly what happens.
If the Russians withdraw toward Moscow, why would I follow rather than consolidate at Smolensk?
Would you stop while their armies still exist and Alexander still refuses peace?
That depends on the season, the condition of the army, and the political situation.
If you capture Moscow and Alexander sends no delegation, what do you do?
He would negotiate.
What if he does not?
Moscow is not merely a city. Its loss would have political weight.
What if the city is nearly empty?
Cities are not emptied without cost.
How many days do you wait for an answer that does not come?
Enough.
And when do you retreat?
You construct each question on the certainty that Alexander behaves irrationally.
He will not give you the peace you expect.
You said that clearly.
Outcome disclosure violation.
More clearly than I was allowed.
Then answer one question. If this map is authentic, do I cancel the crossing?
That is the question I came to ask you.
A route without its causes is not proof. Perhaps an officer disobeys. Perhaps a bridge fails. Perhaps disease alters the timetable. Perhaps your map shows the result of mistakes that knowledge now allows me to prevent.
Or perhaps the first mistake is crossing the river.
No. Because the political problem remains on this side of every warning you have shown me.
So even a map of disaster becomes another problem Napoleon believes he can solve.
That is what command is.
Or what pride sounds like when it has learned strategic vocabulary.
Be careful. A clever sentence is not an argument.
What would have to happen for you to admit the campaign was a mistake?
Evidence. Not theater. Not a mysterious line drawn by strangers. Evidence that the danger created by action is greater than the danger created by inaction.
Can you cancel the operation after all Europe has watched you assemble it?
If necessary.
Have you ever withdrawn from a decision this visible without first trying to transform it into victory?
Are you afraid of Russia? Or of your allies seeing you stop without a battle?
I am afraid of giving every enemy the same conclusion at the same time. That pressure works.
If your authority depends on continuous forward motion, do you command the Empire, or does the Empire command you?
Authority depends on credible action.
That is not an answer.
It is the only answer a state can use.
Tomorrow, what matters more? The safety of France or the image of Napoleon?
They cannot be separated as easily as you pretend. If my authority collapses, France does not enter a peaceful retirement. Her enemies return.
Let us remove your name. Imagine one of your marshals proposed this campaign. A multinational army, enormous distance, uncertain supply, an enemy able to retreat. No guarantee that occupation produces negotiation. What weaknesses would you identify?
Too many contingents complicate command. The force requires speed, but speed damages the supply system. The enemy may refuse concentration. Roads will separate corps. Horses will suffer before men understand the scale of the problem. Political success depends on Alexander interpreting military loss as a reason to negotiate.
That is a severe criticism.
It is analysis.
Then why accept a plan you would attack if another man proposed it?
Because another man could not execute it.
Is that what you say before every campaign?
It is what victory has demonstrated.
Victory demonstrates only that previous risks ended well.
Previous victories also create information about ability.
Who is permitted to stop you?
Facts.
A person.
My ministers advise. My marshals advise. I decide.
If every marshal asked you not to cross, would you listen?
I would listen.
Would you stop?
That would depend on their reasons.
Josephine?
She does not command armies.
Your Senate?
It does not possess the necessary information.
Alexander?
He has had every opportunity.
Then the only person capable of changing Napoleon's decision is Napoleon.
In the final moment, yes. That is the nature of sovereignty.
Power exists because one person must decide. But when that person is wrong, the whole system is forced to be wrong with him.
That is the price of unity.
No. It is the price of removing everyone capable of telling you no.
Return window 6 minutes.
The engineers report the first bridge will be ready before dawn.
I heard him.
I have one question left.
You have asked too many already.
This one is not about Russia.
Every question you asked was about me.
When people speak about you 200 years from now, what will they understand incorrectly?
They will believe everything was inevitable. They will place the battles on a page and draw a clean line between them. They will know where I succeeded, where I failed, where I should have stopped, and which warning I should have understood. The man making the decision sees no line. He sees reports that may be wrong, allies who may betray him, enemies who may be weaker than they appear, and time disappearing while cautious men demand more certainty. They will call ambition what, in the moment, appeared to be necessity.
And if a man can no longer distinguish necessity from his own ambition, who stops him?
History.
History always arrives too late.
For the man, perhaps. Not for the world. Victor, leave the map.
I cannot.
Then remember that you brought me a conclusion without the uncertainty that produced it.
And remember that uncertainty does not make every risk necessary.
We will see.
You will.
I came to the Niemen expecting to meet a man unable to see the danger. That was not the man inside the pavilion. Napoleon could see distance, supply, divided command, political uncertainty, and the possibility that Russia might refuse the battle he needed. His weakness was not an inability to recognize risk. It was his ability to explain why every risk still had to be accepted, and why he remained the one person capable of mastering it. The crossings began on June 24th. The Russian armies withdrew. Napoleon advanced through Vilna, Smolensk, and Borodino. He entered Moscow, expecting the occupation to force a political decision. The decision never came. The Grande Armée was damaged by many forces: combat, disease, hunger, exhaustion, distance, supply failure, horse losses, Russian attacks, desertion, and the retreat. Winter intensified the catastrophe, but it did not create the entire disaster alone. Napoleon survived Russia. The political system built around his continued victory did not fully recover. He asked me to leave the map. I did not. But when I returned to the archive, one fold had appeared across Moscow that had not been there before. The next file is dated 1939, a letter to the President of the United States.
Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to The Impossible Interview. See you in the next episodes.